Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I just went through a case build for the first time in a little while. I just retired my old Phanteks P400 case, old enough where it doesn't even have the tempered glass side panel. It's the old school acrylic one. I'm looking at it over here on the side of the room, and it looks sad, but it got a great upgrade. You can see this new DarkFlash Phantom case from a company called DarkFlash. Never heard of them before, but I found the reviews on Amazon to be pretty decent, even for airflow, which was a little bit unexpected. So this is just a little bit of a quick journey of my experience from coming from a really basic case like the P400 Phanteks case over to this basically completely tempered glass machine that comes with really great RGB fans, 6 RGB fans included, and I think you can see I added 2 more to have a total of 8. It's been really great. And I'm just going to do some comparisons. What are some of the trade-offs? What are some of the opportunity costs that actually happened whenever I went from the P400 over to this new DarkFlash case? Because it's really nice. So I hope that this actually helps you be able to see the difference between an entry-level type of case like the P400 coming to something like this with really not a case that I see any professional reviewer really checking into, you know, like Gamers Nexus or something like that. These guys aren't really seeing these, and really, you know, Steve from Gamers Nexus would look at the front of that case and go, well, you know, there goes all the airflow. You know, that's kind of dumb for putting a high-end case together. But you know, honestly, it's a lot better than it looks. I'll cover that in the review and just and show you that you know, the airflow is decent enough. You know, it's not like a Corsair H500 or something like that that's got the 200 millimeter fans on the front, but it does get the job done while also looking really awesome. And you know, having 6 fans come included with the case is actually a really good deal. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. So here's my P400 case. This was an X99 build at one point in time, and it got transformed into a ThreadRipper build. Currently it's got a 1920X inside of it with an MSI 1080 Ti. It was running like this for a long time, but the airflow became a pretty big issue, and just from the general aesthetics of the body, you know, the acrylic side panel was not great. The gunmetal gray is neat, but you know, in the day and age of RGB fans and glass side panels, you know, it was time for an upgrade. So, you know, here we go. We're moving along. So I'd always find myself doing this action where I'm actually taking the front panel off of the case. It's really unnecessary, and you know, who leaves their case sitting like this? You know, nobody. That's right. So it's good that we were able to find something like the DarkFlash, something that does have good airflow, but also has just really good looks at the same time. So here's the box and how it came from Amazon. Just a quick unboxing just so you get an idea of what it looks like when it comes out of the box. Alright, here you go. So you can see that the, you know, decent build quality out of the box. Good plastic covering and protection all around. All the panels are removable with the thumb screws. A really nice simple logo on the side, and really good I/O all around. Magnetic dust covers on the top and the bottom, and USB 3.0 and 2.0 on the top there, and it's got the mic and the headphone jack, and buttons to be able to change RGB on the fly. You've got 6 PCI Express I/O panels on the back. The ability to maybe do a vertical mount on the graphics card, I haven't really looked into that. And then, you know, your fans come pre-mounted out of the box, so that's actually really nice to see. And also your right side panel is glass as well. It's dark enough to where I don't think anybody would be able to see your terrible cable management like my own. So nothing too much to complain about here. This is a really awesome case. Okay, so here we go. Just giving you guys an up close and personal look of the case and kind of how the build went. You can see the same exact equipment that came from the P400 is inside this case now. The case is noticeably taller, especially where you have these two ejecting 120 millimeter fans. You know, in most cases going to have just a single one in the back. I really like that it actually has the two in the back. The two in the top don't come with the out of the box setup, so you actually have to buy those separate. They're really inexpensive, and they come in 3-packs or 5-packs. So I bought another 3-pack, and they plug right into the same fan controller that comes out of the box. But it really looks good. So here's the front I/O panel, and this is kind of the main thing I think most people are going to get hung up on, is the fact that you have 4 fans here on the front, but are they choking or are they starved? And the answer to that is a little bit. I honestly think that because you have the opening here all the way on the top and then all the way down to the bottom, there is enough air getting in here, and I can honestly feel it coming past my hand from the fans. But the fact that you can have 4 actually pulling out, it does kind of create a little bit more of a negative airflow situation, but I haven't really noticed too much of a difference. If I take this front panel off or have the front panel on, there's a minor change, maybe 2 to 3 degrees Celsius on the graphics card in the bottom. But really not that much to write home about, a really big deal about. A little bit closer look at the I/O. So you do have USB 2.0 on the front, so something like a headset or something doesn't need any fast data. These are still decent ports for. And then 2 USB 3.0, so something where you can plug in your SD cards or your phone or something like that. And then a dedicated RGB button. So if you don't have the remote that comes with it, you can actually just click to your heart's content and change all the RGB on there. However, there is a remote that comes with this guy. So if you buy any of DarkFlash's fans, it comes with a nifty little remote. I think this is kind of the general remote type that you get with most of these fan controllers, but it works well from any kind of distance. You can turn them on and off as far as the lights go. There's 2 fan speed settings. So trying to see if you can hear the difference here. So I'm bringing my microphone really close. This is with the fans turned down, and then when the fans go on, so definitely noticeably louder when the fans are on, but when the fans are down low, it's completely quiet. I can't hear them at all. But all your different functions here, you can your rainbow function. I think you can change it to green. You can change it to red and blue. Just all the colors. So. Okay, so I mentioned the bad cable management from before, and just wow, yeah. So if you want to have any kind of solid state drives in here, it's not such a big deal. Obviously you can lay them flat, you can get a little bit of Velcro, and I kind of put them up there in the top. I actually run 2 hard drives in RAID 1, just like a software RAID 1, and these caddies down here are really the only space that you have for any kind of space for your cables. And look at how close this is to your power supply. So this is an EVGA ATX standard size power supply. In my P400 case, there was lots of space between the front panel here and where the actual hard drive cage is. Getting this guy even in here, I legit had to bend the metal here. You're not going to be able to see that very well. I had to pull the metal out and bend it. This is almost a fully modular machine. Besides the 20 pin and the 8 pin they use for the CPUs, the rest of it's modular. I had to still bend this metal out. Not a huge deal breaker, but if you've got if you've got a big power supply and you are trying to utilize probably all of the different ports you have in there, especially if you have a graphics card, maybe you have 2 graphics cards, you're going to fill out all of the spots in your PSU, but what do you do with all the extra slack on your cables? Well, it ends up looking like this. So it's real garbage town. So you spend a lot of time planning out your cable management if you can. Here's the fan controller. You can change all the different stuff from here too. The fans come plugged in 1 through 6, and then obviously, like I said before, when you purchase the extra ones, you can just plug them in. You can do motherboard sync. It does not work with the MSI style of motherboards. It's supposed to work with ASUS motherboards. I've read that it does not work with some of those either. Really check your motherboard before you use this case if you're really hell-bent on being able to do motherboard sync. So for something like Mystic Light or any of the other ones that have some kind of like syncing ability with the motherboard, I'm not too worried about it. It's like I said, it's an RGB feature. It's not a big deal. And you've got the remote, so you can get it close to wherever your motherboard is actually going to have a certain color scheme, and then you can try to do your best to match everything here. So not a big deal, but something to mention. But yeah, really, I'll put the panel back on here real quick so you can kind of see what this mess looks like with the panel on there. It doesn't look too bad because that tint on the window kind of does hide it. So let's try it. Okay, so this is with the side panel on there. It almost doesn't even look like it's able to be see-through. It's quite opaque with the tint. I left some of the plastic on the other side because I didn't want any of the cables and the extra stuff to actually scratch the back side of the glass. So, from this standpoint, and obviously this is facing the wall, you can't really see it, so not a big deal. So if you have one of those kind of PSUs with these new RGB PSUs, you could light up the little window into your PSU here. However, the top is breathable, so if you have any kind of ugly mess in there, you can see through it real easily. I've thought about getting 3 more fans and actually having them shoot up into the graphics card. Not necessarily for any kind of extra airflow, but just the fact that it might look nice since I've got fans completely around the outside. Maybe an RGB fan on the tower. But yeah, you can see how easy the cables can move around here. So you got your dual 8-pin, and this is for the ThreadRipper. I think you have to have the dual 8 pins coming from the top. So lots of decent little places for your cables to come in and out of. Everything is mostly wired for you on the front with the RGB fans on the front. You can mount your SSDs on the front. I just wasn't really into that. And then plenty of space to be able to take your cables for your USB and your headers and that kind of thing down here at the bottom. Really decent. Down here at the bottom, the feet are pretty good. Look like aluminum feet, and they have little rubber feet on the bottom. Really decent rubber feet on the bottom, not like little ones that'll probably fall off someday. And then every single one of the panels has these little rubber holders, and then every one of your captive thumb screws has got like a little plastic washer on there, so you don't have any kind of metal on glass for any of your panels. Okay, so let's put the panel back on. Yeah, so it's kind of a fingerprint magnet, nothing a little bit of Pledge Ultra Wipes can't fix. I usually run with this thing off. Just kind of lets the air be able to escape a little bit better. I don't know. I wish that somebody would come up with something that whenever you take these magnetic filters off, because obviously there's no reason to have it on the top unless you're actually sucking air down into the case. So having these on there, it looks a little bit better, but when you take it off, it looks like something's missing, obviously, right? So it'd be great if somebody actually figures that part out. So same kind of thing as on the bottom. I'm not going to flip it underneath, but you can pull it out from the bottom for your PSU down here. So So yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna keep on rambling, but if you have any comments, just leave them below. I'll check on them, and if there's anything I kind of left out, just ask me. Maybe there'll be another part 2 video about this later if there's anything else I left out. But yeah, just leave some comments and I'll answer whatever I can.